Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20, and I have on matching lilac nails with my bathrobe. I tell you, my dressing coach goes to every end of the earth to make sure that I'm color coordinated just for you. I should have put on lilac eyeshadow, then I really would have dazzled you. Anyway, here we are. This is being recorded on June 6th, 2017. And as most of you know, I'm on maintenance at this point with my Keto Under 20. And what do I do differently with my Keto Under 20? Well, I just did a video where I will borrow a few carbs from a low-carb day to have more carbs on another day, and I haven't done it yet. But the video is still languishing, so I did put it up there. So being on maintenance, I do reserve the right to sometimes have a 25 carb day. I do not subtract the fiber. I doubt that I ever will, but when I do look at like having a 25 carb day, which I haven't had, that will be part of it, is that there's plenty of fiber in there if I was to do that just for the day. So by the end of the week, I have no more than 140 carbs. And when I did it, my purpose was to have strawberries and yogurt and nut butters, and kale, kale shakes, and I missed them. And so for the record, kale shakes I will never have again. I will trade strawberries for organic raspberries, which I'm not having right now, and only have an ounce a day. So it's about 6 or 7 little gems of divine. And yogurt never had, and nut butters never had. So much for my intentions of having those extra things. So for me, my keto just remains the same day in, day out, 20 carbs or fewer, and tracked on my chronometer. And I see a few of you have switched over to it. If you like to know the details about your health, you can even put in your vitamin supplements or your powders and potions, and it will reflect in the percentages of the amounts of things you're having. Potassium is one of my goals, so I have potassium citrate powder, which is ghastly tasting, but I mix it with the Terrasol wheatgrass juice powder and lemons, squeezed lemons, and I have that mixture in the morning, and I end up with a green tongue. Remember Dentine gum? My mother chewed that to hide the smell of booze. Yeah, as if you couldn't smell the bourbon. Anyway, I haven't seen Dentine in a long time, but I'm not Dentine, Chlorets. That's what they were called, Chlorets. And they were green, and they were supposedly breath freshening, a little bit more different ingredients than what we see today. As many of you know, I was like aghast when I realized the carbs that I was chewing daily in my gum. And one of my subscribers in a comment this morning that I was reading, she was buying the organic half and half, and suddenly she saw how many carbs were in half and half, and she was like, oh my goodness, I'm having that every day, 7 days a week. Oh, I had no idea. And it's like, that's why they say to have the heavy whipping cream. There's 0 carbs in it. I have 1 tablespoon in my bulletproof coffee, and I have 1 tablespoon in my second cup of coffee. And that's half as much as I was having, and I don't know the difference. I have cashew milk or almond milk or coconut milk to fill it up to the little line on whichever of my cups I'm using in my NutriBullet, and that's my more like a latte type of thing, because then I whip it up. And I'm awaiting my 4th flavor in stevia drops, the coconut flavor, and I'll have that with my coconut milk in a coffee. And I get my little small pleasures from things like that today. Usually my second cup of coffee, I do put a little pat of butter in it. I measure it, yes, 7 grams. So it's like a half a tablespoon. And I do add that to my second cup of coffee if I'm having it. Or sometimes a tea, same thing. And so being on maintenance doesn't mean anything different for me. It means I'm still having the same foods, the same amount of calories. It's kind of like my body has found its set point and there it sits. And usually in my food for the day, I haven't gone over 1,600 in forever, and today's is 1,100. I didn't add the pat of butter that I'm going to have in my second cup of coffee to it yet, but I will. But so I thought I'd show you the chronometer, how it works today. This isn't like a tutorial. It's just how I put in my food and remain accountable. And it's more than putting in my food. It's weighing and measuring everything that I'm having. I don't believe in eyeballing. To me, that's lazy keto. We can get into trouble, or I can get into trouble, especially when adding things like butter or cream or olive oil or coconut oil or any of those things. You could triple the contents of a salad just by doing eyeballing of the wet that you choose to put in it. And if you are having the wet in your salad and you're using a bottled commercial salad dressing, flip that puppy over. Just flip it over and read. And if it has things like soybean oil and all kinds of chemicals that you can't tell what they are from some lab in New Jersey, and also all of the fake sugars they put in it, because we now have to have like a maple syrup sweetness salad dressing. Gone are the days of the balsamic vinaigrette made at home. But anyway, those are just little upgrades that I did along the way. No more bottled dressings with dubious ingredients, to say the least, in them. So anyway, it is in the 50s today. It is pouring, raining on Cape Cod. This is like 4 months of chilly, raining weather. They promise it better later, but I'm not taking my dark walk today. I just don't have it in me. I will go to the rec center after I have my first meal of the day and do my laps there, where it is climate controlled with a roof. And that's what I like. I love to walk, but the rain has just beaten me. It has just beaten me down. I just don't know. So I have my food put in for the day, and I will turn the camera around and show you what I'm having. So there's no big extras being on maintenance. There isn't. A couple of times I've had 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my big salad at night. But when I add the blue cheese and the avocado, like I am tonight, there's no need for it. I just have that 1 tablespoon. And also the bacon. I put in 2 strips of bacon. And so it is perfectly fine and enough, and I don't need to add the extra oils. So I'm going to flip you around. So this is my chronometer, and I do have the golden apple one. I think it's $35.99. As you can see, it is today, June 6th. And it's very easy to add food. I will do it right here and add that half a tablespoon of butter. And then I go down here, and it is 14 grams. Okay, so up here is my bulletproof coffee, which I made into a recipe, and that little green bowl there says it's a recipe, and it is 165 calories. It is not overloaded. I use 1 tablespoon of butter or coconut oil and the 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. This is my potassium 99 grams vitamin supplement. This is the wheatgrass juice powder. This is the powdered potassium citrate. And then it moves down, and After I take my walks, I add my exercise right here, and it's a very easy program. And as you can see, I'm having my great big salad with 4 ounces of tenderloin already cooked on the big green egg, 2 strips of bacon, and the organic romaine, 10 grams of blue cheese, 30 grams of red cabbage organic, chopped up in it as well, and 5 asparagus spears, gently roasted and then chopped up because I like them with a lot of crunch, a crisp. And then today, if I don't go to the earthy crunchy place, I'm having 2 organic eggs, and I'm having all of the cheese and the meats ripped off the leftover fathead pizza put on to the top of it and kind of baked for a second so the meats and the cheese melt in. And then I'm having 3 ounces of Vlasic pickles, which have 0 carbs in them because they're kosher dills. You need to be a label reader with pickles. Sometimes pickles have a lot of sugar in them. I'm having the 30 grams of organic avocado also in that bowl, so that the egg lunch and then the salad dinner. And then as I add my exercise, that'll factor in. It says I've got 1,200 calories for the day, and it has me burning 1,280 because of my BMR, basal metabolic rate. And down here it puts all of this. Now as I put in, after I take my brisk walk at the rec center, I will put in the exercise and it will say more calories burned. And then down here it gives you the very detailed breakdown about where it comes. So as you can see here, I have 13.2 carbs. I do not subtract the fiber. And then this is what I was talking about with the beauty. You click onto the, and I also put in that I'm on a keto diet at the beginning when I was doing the setup. So it allows for just the 20 carbs. And this shows you, sometimes it's a culprit that's eating up a lot of carbs, and sometimes it's the good stuff. So it's 4 grams of carbs for my romaine, 2.3 for the avocado, 2.3 for the asparagus, 2.2 for the red cabbage. And then we go down the list with some of the processed meats because they have carbs in them. Sometimes cheeses do too, like cream cheese. And so then the protein, and then over here are the minerals and the vitamins that I like to pay a lot of attention to. And magnesium and potassium. If you take nothing else extra, so I can click onto this and see from the box where I'm getting my potassium from. And so the potassium and the magnesium for me as an older woman, and probably anybody, is important. Dr. Berg says to have 4,700 milligrams of potassium a day, hence the extra that I've added. There could be more. I do take a multi 3 times a week. I take like a whole bunch of different supplements, and there could be more. But he says if you have your 7 to 10 cups of green leafies, there's a lot of potassium in them, and as you could see, a good portion of it came from the lettuce, and that's where I like to see the breakdown. So I could probably have a bigger salad. The calories for the 125, the calories for the 100 grams of romaine that I had last night was 17. So it's not a big calorie eater, it's what you put on it. And so tonight with my filet and my bacon and my asparagus and my red organic cabbage, it'll be a very hearty dinner. And it takes a while to eat, and that's good, because if I was gobbling, things would be gone in a heartbeat. And so I like to have something that can take a while, 20 minutes they say it takes to signal the brain that you've eaten. I'm just kind of used to it. I make sure that I have enough fat in my lunch, my first meal of the day. And yesterday I had it at 11:30, and we had our second meal of the day at 3:30. So I had a nice 20 hours with nothing but my bulletproof coffee. And so I call that a fat fast. But it gives my body plenty of time to digest everything that I've eaten from the day before. And it just, when you're in a fasting state is when you burn fat. When you start eating, it immediately stops. And that's how it is. And so the longer you can go not having any food, the more your body will thank you. And it is a getting used to sort of thing. Some people have to eat as soon as they get up. Dr. Berg did what he eats as soon as he gets up, and he has a light dinner. He has like 1.5 or 2.5 meals per day. And I am a 2 substantial meals per day in a small window of feeding time. And it just kind of works for perhaps it's because I've got an older metabolism, or perhaps it aids my food addict, because I know that if I'm hungry, believe me, at 9 a.m., and I push it off to 11, I have my second cup of coffee. Oftentimes I'll go to the rec center before I eat, and so I can push it off, because the later in the day that I have it, because as soon as I eat, my food addict is ready to continue to eat. So I battle that. Some people don't battle that, but I do. And so I push it off as long as I can, and I'm such a happy camper with it. And so when I go to eat my second meal, I'm not starving, like eat your arm or my own arm. I'm ready for the second meal because, I'm not going to overstuff, but I know it's going to last me until the next day, maybe that 18 to 20 hours that I'm hoping for. So that's how I roll, and I've learned what works for my body by sticking to it and paying attention to the signs. And I know that a lot of you do the same thing, and you know what's a healthy way of doing it and kind of a dangerous hood. I don't believe in nighttime eating. I think that is an emotional habit that sets you up. It's like you can get rid of it now or get rid of it later when you have to. But as far as blood sugars go, you're spiking your insulin, you're spiking your blood sugars before you go to bed. You're going to bed with a full tummy. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist. It's just what works for me is eating the earliest in the day that I can for my second meal, so my window's small, and then my food starts digesting while I'm still awake, and I'm not craving more things at night. That's how I roll. But you can always ask questions. Everybody's different, what works for everybody. I did read the Time article that talked about what diet works for certain people, and all of the difficulties out there. Keto under 20, it just works for me. So that's why I talk about it here. You could be having 3 meals a day with 3 snacks a day, and it's worked for you. And you weigh the same thing that you weighed in high school, and you're still active, and your brain is still functioning. If that works for you, that's great. It's what works for you. Because it doesn't matter what works for you on paper, it's doing it, right? So I do it. I do it every day. Keto under 20, I weigh and measure in the kitchen with my kitchen tools. I come over here and I put it in the chronometer, and I add my exercise, and I'm happy with the day. I go to bed purring, and I wake up ready to go again with my Keto under 20 lifestyle, with what I need to do to keep me with the integrity of what I need for my day. Am I strict? Am I structured? Am I disciplined? Are you? Well, if you aren't and you want to be, this is a good place to tune in. If you already are, you get validation for what you're doing. If you don't care one whit about weighing and measuring and tracking, and it's working for you, great, you are lucky. But for a lot of us, we need the accountability. So this has been Sarah, Keto Under 20, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe below and tell a friend. Bye-bye for now.